So, hello and welcome to the D.T.M podcast. This record is from 98. I'm looking at the YouTube description, and this is kind of portrayed as the saddest record, uh, of all time. I guess if someone asked, it's got started when somebody asked Steve Gadd, which was the drummer or a drummer, whatever the case may be, on this record, and they asked him what does it feel like to do the saddest record, to be playing on the saddest album of all time, and he said, I can't remember what he said, but you get the point. Anyway, so that's kind of the going up to this. So we just did a review on Van Halen 3, and that's the same year as this, which is kind of interesting. And so we at the end we might kind of talk about what the differences and similarities are between the records. Devin thinks there's a lot of similarities. So it's got 14 tracks, and it's a pretty long album because all of them exceed at least three and a half minutes, basically. So, I don't really have a lot of facts about it. According to Devin, there's a different band on every track, or I guess he was talking about this record. I'm not really sure. So, I'll let Devin elaborate on that subject.
Alrighty, so this was, of course, the follow-up to From the Cradle. From the Cradle was an all blues covers record. We reviewed the album. Go check that episode out. But this was the first album of original material since 1989's Journeyman, and it was a very long period of time since an album of material, or at least an original material. And I mean, it was kind of interesting going from the Cradle to this album. It probably would have been more or less logical to go from maybe Journeyman to this album or whatever instead of From the Cradle to this record, because From the Cradle is a much different album than both of them. I mean, it's like I said, a straight all blues covers record. And I mean, this record really and truly has not aged that well for me. We'll talk more about it as we get into the episode, or the track by track. But yeah, not a huge fan of this one. There's some good songs on it, but going back to it today, I was kind of bored with it. So, Stephen, back to you.
Yeah, this has become the Devin Dunnigan podcast. I'm just kidding. Um, because Devin has the most to say about things. Because he knows more about it. To be simply put, we've talked about this album not on the podcast necessarily, but at all. But really, you know, we talked about it a lot in person and stuff before. Me and Devin, and we've kind of our opinions have kind of changed a lot. I feel like, uh, you know, through the years, I guess. But anyway, this record, I mean, I don't know. It's a long one. I'll say that. And I mean, Devin has already kind of voiced his overall opinion. So I mean, But anyway, so the track number one, um, My Father's Eyes. So 5 minutes and 24 seconds long, very long, drawn out song. And there's another version that was on an album called Unplugged, Eric Clapton. It wasn't on that album, but it was recorded during those sessions on during that show, but it just wasn't on the album, and it's on the deluxe edition to that record. But it's slower, and he didn't put it on the Unplugged album because he felt like it wasn't, I don't know, I guess fleshed out enough or whatever. I mean, I liked it, and there was like literally two or three different takes of it. I mean, I know at least two because there's two on there. But anyway, I like it pretty well. It's classic Clapton. It's another one that's about. Sorry, it's another one that's kind of about his son's death and his father that he never knew because he just never saw him or anything, I guess. So anyway, so Devin, what do you think about My Father's Eyes?
So I like this song overall. It's a good song, and I mean, I kind of prefer it a little bit more live than in the studio. This whole album has a weird production style to it. It's very kind of industrial pop. It's very, very weird. And I will say that kind of makes it unique because there's no other Clapton album or really any other album I've ever heard sound like this record. It's got just a certain vibe to it. And I at least find that interesting about it. But yeah, I dig the song. Like you said, this was an outtake from Unplugged. It didn't make the album exactly for the reason you said. He wanted to flesh it out a bit more. He did perform this on the tour in support of Unplugged in '92. I think like once or something like that. And then eventually he brought it back, started fleshing it out for this album. The solo we talked about August a couple of weeks ago, and during Tearing Us Apart, he does a slide solo, and on this song, he does a slide solo. So he's kind of going back to those bluesy roots. And overall, I really, really enjoy this song. I think it's a really, really great track. And just talking about the bands on this record, real quick, I mean, this is an entirely different band throughout this album. So you've got Eric Clapton on vocals and guitar, Steve Gadd on drums, Paul Waller on drum programming, Nathan East on bass, Andy Fairweather-Lowe on guitar, Chris Stanton on Hammond organ, Joe Sample on piano, Simon Climby on keyboards, China on backing vocals, and then you got the mixers and all. I'm not going to get into all that on each track, but yeah, different band pretty much on each of these songs. So that's pretty interesting. It kind of gives it its own flair. But yeah, I do like this song. I've always really enjoyed this song. Like I said, it's a bit better live. It has kind of a heavier feel to it, but I mean, not much else to say other than that. So back to you, Steve.
All right, so Dean, what do you think about My Father's Eyes?
Well, I think this song is a very beautiful song with a very good meaning to it. And I actually like the backing vocals with the what do you call it? The hymnal people or whatever. And this song all around is a beautiful song. It doesn't really sound like Eric Clapton to me, but it's different than what he's made before, but it's awesome in my opinion. And this song, when I first listened to it, when I first seen the album cover and this and that, this song really touched my heart somehow because of the meaning of it. And yeah, I think it's a very emotional song and it's a great song to start out this album.
Peter, what do you think about My Father's Eyes?
So, not very much of a fan of it, but it sounds pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It
Yeah.
sucks. Anyway, so that's basically 5 minutes and 24 seconds of crap. So we're gonna move on to the next track. Track number 2, it's called River of Tears. Now, 7 minutes and 22 seconds. And this one was kind of performed live a lot, for years after. Now, I wouldn't say many, many years, but a couple years after this record came out, it was on One More Car, One More Rider, a live record of his. And also, it was on 1999. I think that was the year he did it live for the first Crossroads Festival, which was not really a festival yet, not a festival, but it really was kind of what started that off, that whole thing with the Eric Clapton Crossroad Guitar Festival or whatever. And he did it live live on that, and also just this version of the song. I'm not a huge fan of the whole kind of bell, not bell. It's like a triangle for the percussion part, and it just sounds too like too many bells and whistles on this whole record like that. And obviously we'll get to that later, but I'm really not a fan. I wish they would have just did bare band and cut out all the bells and whistles. But anyway, so Devin, what do you think about River of Tears?
So I agree with you on that aspect of it. Cut out the bells and whistles for this album. I would have much preferred it to have been more or less a straight band, maybe taking all the keyboards and processed instruments and stuff like that out. But this song overall, it's a really cool song. It's kind of a jazzier song. You've got some good little jazzy bass playing going on, and I've always really enjoyed this song. This song does not go over like this live at all. It's a more straightforward version in the live setting, but I dig it overall. I think it's a really, really cool track. And I kind of mentioned it earlier that this album, which you guys reviewed Van Halen 3 when I was absent, and this whole entire album kind of reminds me of Van Halen 3 in the way that it's a bit experimental at times. It's kind of overall kind of the production and just the way these songs are executed is just kind of reminds me of that record. And it's kind of like Clapton's kind of at a crossroads in his career, and Van Halen's kind of in the same boat. They're at a crossroads at a transitional period. And yeah, he was talking about he performed this song. He's pretty much stopped performing any song off of this record for a long time because of the fact that he wanted to kind of forget this period of his life because of the pain that ensued with it. And this song and My Father's Eyes, along with Tears in Heaven, were actually dropped for many, many years. But yeah, I've always really enjoyed this song. This is a really, really cool song. Like I said, very different from the live version, but still a very good song. So back to you, Steve.
All right. So, I mean, yeah, I agree. And we were talking about it earlier that I don't know if I'd said it on this part or not on this episode yet, but it was the same year, 1998, as Van Halen 3 that came out. And I'm not sure if you said that, but I didn't think you had. But anyway, that's another similarity, obviously. And I mean, it is at the same time. So I mean, and I don't guess any of us were born yet in 1998, so it's hard for us to quite envision what was going on at the time musically. But it must have been pretty popish because that's it must have been he must have saw something in that, or he wouldn't have made this album pop. You know, but anyway, I mean it's obviously not straight pop or anything, but it's I mean all the bells and whistles with it. I mean, if it was a straight band type of production, regular, just just bass and drums and guitar, and that's it, then it would have been different. But the way they produced it and all, it's basically a pop album, and you know, or just IMO. But anyway, so Dean, what do you think about River of Tears?
This song was very relaxing, and I like the meaning behind this one too. In a lot of these songs on this album, really, he had a nice meaning to them. I mean, they was the sad meanings because it was, yeah, the sad album. But I actually love the intro thing, and Eric Clapton's vocals was great in this song. Uh, this song, it sounds a little bit different than the rest of them on the album, which this whole album's different than the rest of Eric Clapton, but this song compared to the other songs is a little bit different because the other ones might relate a little bit, but this one's got that special little like bell thing in the beginning that kind of divorces it away from the other songs in the album. But yeah, River of Tears is a pretty nice song in my opinion. I love this song just like I like My Father's Eyes and a lot of the ones on this album, but we're gonna talk about that later. But yeah, I liked it a lot.
All right then. That's interesting. Now, Peter, what do you think of River of Tears?
It's all right, but it sounds like elevator music. It's pretty much what
All
it
right.
sounds like.
That's a great analogy. I think this whole record does, to be honest. If it was like turned to a very low volume, yeah, that would be like elevator music. It pretty much is terrible. It sucks. I mean, the song
Yep.
"River of Tears" is horrible. It sucks. So the, the next track on the record, track number 3,
Oh my.
there's a music video
Mm.
called Pilgrim, and then basically, I mean, it's a song in its only album. That's all I got to say about it. I'm just kidding. Um, it's 5 minutes and 53 seconds long, basically 6 minutes. I think all these songs are very, very too drawn out, and this is a very good example of that. But I still like the song itself, and which it's about the same case for all the songs on the record for me. But Pilgrim, this one was done live around this period, about '98. I've seen some shows online of just I don't know if it's called bootleg or what, but it's just like people that filmed from one spot, kind of from far off to the stage, and it was like New York or something in '98, and a couple of those shows from that era, and it'd be like, I guess it was the Pilgrim tour, right? I'm guessing, but he would do Pilgrim live, and he'd do a lot of these songs live, which you wouldn't think that he'd be able to pull it off, but he does. He pulls it off pretty well and still manages to sound popish live. So that's pretty interesting. And so, Devin, what do you think about Pilgrim?
So I really enjoyed this song. I think this is probably the best song on the record. I love just kind of the overall vibe that it has to it, with kind of the orchestra behind it and all. When he comes into that solo at the end of it, it's a very jazzy solo. And overall, for the most part, I think this is a really, really well done song, and one I wish he would bring back into the set. I think that would be really, really cool. And talking about the live tour and all, he actually brought an orchestra out on tour with him, if I'm not bad wrong. And also, if I'm not bad wrong, I believe he performed at least majority, if not all, of these songs live at one point or another. I believe very early on the tour, he was doing like the entire album live, mixing in old school stuff as well. But yeah, this is a really, really good song. I've always really enjoyed this one. And this was also in the soundtrack for Lethal Weapon 4 from '98, along with Van Halen 3's Fire in the Hole, which was on that soundtrack as well. But yeah, I mean, a really, really cool song. I've always really enjoyed this one. Love the soloing. Love just the overall vibe to it. I love that weird kind of guitar effect during the main riff of the song. I've always really loved that. I believe they do it with keyboard live, but still just a really, really, really good song, and probably my favorite track on the record. So back to you, Steve.
All right. So now, Dean, what do you think about Pilgrim?
I agree with Devin on this one. It's got a nice vibe to it, that kind of late night, kind of fedora act, and the solo that he does, or the riffs or whatever that he does in this one, I loved them. I actually tried to learn them, which I have, but anyhow, yeah, it's got a different sound to it too, because of its vibe compared to the vibe to the rest of the songs on this album. But it, for what it's named and everything, I think it does fit as being named Pilgrim, because the lyrics kind of match the name of it. But yeah, it's got a nice vibe to it, like Devin said, and it's one of the best songs on the album. And yeah,
All right. I forgot to mute my freaking mic. Crap. But anyway, dang. Okay, so Peter, what do you think about Pilgrim?
Shoot. The music sound pretty daggum cool. The guitar part sounds pretty cool, but the music video seemed weird. It looked like he was about to watch something crash and burn.
Okay. Interesting. Anyway, so
Yeah, thinking back at that video, it was kind of crazy. That video was kind of wicked.
I didn't quite get that vibe, but anyway, so I mean, I just
Yep.
don't know at this point. I just really don't know. It's a song and it's on the album. That's all I've got to say. So, Broken Hearted,
It has some words.
track number 4. It's a song and it's on the album. 7 minutes and 52 seconds long, basically 8 minutes. People, this crap is way, way, way too drawn out. I mean, especially for an album that has 14 tracks on it, and they're all freaking long. I mean, this is not. I mean, this is putrid crap. This is a great freaking album. Okay, I just said two completely contradictory things at the same time. But anyway, go listen to the SAF episode.
I believe we're all confused about this album.
Okay, so basically, Broken Hearted. I like the song, but it's too drawn out. So, Devin, what do you think about Broken Hearted?
So we hit the first dip on the album for me, and I'm like you, it's way too freaking long. They could have cut probably about 3 or 4 minutes out of this freaking song. It's just really, really dumb at times. I mean, they come in with this very long intro, and then it gets in. I mean, it's got all this flute and all in it, and it. Like I said, I like the song, but like he was talking about River of Tears, just bells and whistles. They could, if they would have stripped this song down and just made it like Clapton was playing it with the acoustic guitar, it would have been a pretty cool song, and just cut it off about 3 or 4 minutes earlier or something. I mean, it's just way too drawn out, and this is my biggest issue with the album. When you get songs like this that are just so entirely long, and it just drags this entire record down. It's I mean, I tried listening to it again today, and I just kind of got bored with it. And I've always loved this record, but I just kind of got bored at points listening to it. And don't get me wrong, I don't dislike the record or anything like that, but it's just songs like this that really don't do it for me. I mean, this could have been probably 4 tracks less, or maybe even 5 or 6 tracks less, and you could have got a much better record out of it. But I mean, not too much else to say other than that. I like the song okay, but it should have been much shorter. And I mean, Steven, back to you.
All right, so Broken Hearted. So Dean, what do you think about this song?
I really gotta agree with you guys, and I know we're kind of putting this song down a little, but I mean, yeah, it's true. It's way too long. I mean, yeah, it's a nice sounding song and all. It gives me kind of like a nighttime kind of feeling, but it because of how long it is, it almost ruins the rest of the song. Because okay, yeah, I'm gonna listen to this phase part, and I like this phase part, but how long are we gonna go before the song stops? And you just keep clicking the screen trying to figure out, well, oh well, I still got 3 more minutes because of how long it is. But it's a good song, but it's entirely too long. And if they could like somehow cut it, I mean, I know they probably won't go back to these songs, but if it was cut down, like Devin said, 3 minutes or 2 minutes even, just a little bit cut back, then it would have been a fine song. It would have been better than whole album long song. Yeah. Back to you, Steven.
All right. That's interesting. Now, Pete, what do you think about the 7 minute and 50 second long song called Broken Hearted?
Too freaking long.
All right. Great content. I mean, this is great. I mean, so Broken Hearted,
Great
Yes.
honesty.
this is this is putrid crap. I mean, this is not worthy to be crapped on. Seriously.
Throw it out. Throw it away.
Yeah, exactly. So, track number 5, maybe? One Chance. Now, this one right here, I hate this song.
So one chance. So yeah, I'm with you on this one. It's filler. It's it could have been left off the record. It's basically Clapton rapping. He's dropping them strong bars on this song, and I mean it's not a very good song. It's more of a kind of a rap R&B type song than anything else. And I like some of the guitar work. The guitar work's fine, but I mean, other than that, I mean, this song's just it's a filler song. And he actually played this live. I've heard a live version of it, and I mean, it's whatever. I'm not a fan of it. It's a filler song. Could have been left off the record, but I mean, yeah, not too much else to add other than that. So, Steve, back to you.
All right. So, I mean, I just don't know. Terrible song. So, I tell you about this. This is 6 minutes, basically, 5 minutes and 56 seconds long. And again, I keep putting emphasis on the longevity of these songs because I'm trying to make a point about that they're too freaking long. If you hadn't got that vibe by now, but anyway, so basically, I mean, this is kind of like a double album or something. I mean, that's probably what it should have been if it wasn't already. I'm not even sure if it wasn't or what, but it's 14 long and they're 3.5 to and up a piece, basically all 5 minutes. So I mean, I just don't know. It's just dumb. So the next track. Oh wait, did I ask? No. So Pete, what do you think about One Chance?
The guitar parts is probably the only good thing on it.
All right. So now, Diener, I don't think I've asked you yet. So One Chance, what do you think about it?
What the hell is this? I don't even know. It sucks. The only thing good about it is the vibe it's got to it, but it it's not anything new to what Eric Clapton should have done. It shouldn't be on the album. It's one of the songs that makes the album even longer and elongated. And yeah, I don't even know what this is. It's it's there. It's on the album, but why? And I'd honestly just take it out the playlist. I'd take it right out of there. Take it right out the album. Yeah, back to you.
All right. So I mean, I agree with you. This is a song that's on the album. That's definitely a fact about the song that it's on the record. And but anyway, that's one thing that's for
Yep.
sure. Now it has like Pete said, it has lyrics to it, which it shouldn't. But anyway, so the next track called Circus. Now this one
Crazy.
Circus is absolute crap. I mean, it's a good song, but I don't particularly love this version of it. I like the unplugged version, which I keep saying that these were outtakes from Unplugged. This one and My Father's Eyes as well were both outtakes that weren't on the actual album, but they're on the deluxe edition of Unplugged, and they were just played on that show. But this version of Circus, I like the acoustic version of Circus a lot better. It's really called like Circus Love Town, but this one just says Circus. But anyway, I really like the song, and it's only 4 minutes 12 seconds long. but I don't particularly love this version of it. So, if that makes any sense. So, Devin, what do you think about this 4 minute and 12-second version of Circus?
So yeah, I mean, I like the song quite a bit. This is much more like it for the record, but I've never even heard the original version from Unplugged. So I mean, I can't tell you if I prefer that version to this or anything like that. I need to pick that deluxe version of Unplugged up because that's a pretty cool package. But yeah, I like the song. It's a much it's much better than the past couple of songs. But yeah, I mean, it's a good track. I can't say much else about it. I do like the song. So I mean, it's a song and it's on the album, like you guys keep saying. So I mean, there you go. So back to you, Steve.
All right. I mean, that's right. I agree, Devin. It's a song and it's on the record. I mean, that's pretty much it for me. That's all I can come up with. And we're from now on, we're just gonna say the most just factual, just obvious crap in the world. Because I mean, like this song was called Circus. And it's 4 minutes and 12 seconds long, and it's on the album. And it's a song. It's a song. It's a song, and it's a song. But by the way, Devin, yes, the deluxe edition of Unplugged, really all it has on it is a one version of Circus, then two different two takes of My Father's Eyes, and then it has another blues one. I can't remember. It was one of those that was on 24 Nights, but I can't remember what it's called. But
Pretty Life
then,
Blue.
yeah, that it has that. That's the last track on it. I can't remember the other two. But anyway, oh yeah, dude. It was Walking Blues. It was two other tracks of that or something takes. But anyway, so so that was Unplugged. That was 91 or 92, I believe, something like that. Unplugged, and then I guess this was 90s Clapton. It went Unplugged, then it went From the Cradle, then it went this album, and that was I think the only three of the 90s for him, if I'm not mistaken. I hope I'm
24
be.
Nights, too.
Oh, okay. So what year was that?
91.
I didn't think about that. That's interesting. So Journeyman was in '89, I think. So that doesn't
Yeah.
count quite. But anyway, so he didn't quite do a record every year. He just kind of, after a while in his career, well, I guess he kind of always did that. He didn't quite do one every year like these big bands do, like Skinner, for example. They were pressured to do an album a year, and that's you know that kind of results in a record not coming out that well or as well as it could have, that they're pressured to be into it. But that's the point with this record I'm going to get
91 Skinner.
into is yes. But also with that record too is something like this. This album, these songs had been written for years. I mean, for a fact, I know for a fact just a few of these songs at least had been written for years, since literally for almost 10 years. This album was not rushed. I read in Clapton's book that this album they literally spent I mean, buku's amount of money on just the studio time, because they wanted to write some in the studio, but also they wanted to just get it right. And a lot of these songs they had already had written for 10 to 15 to 20 years. Some of them, seriously. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. They just wasted a bunch of money. He said on studio time, and it's 14 long, so you see why. But anyway, so what's going to happen is Circus. So Dean, what do you think about Circus?
Circus, I love the acoustic guitar playing the beginning of it. And I don't know what the album, the Unplugged, sounds like, which I'm pretty sure it sounds pretty good too. But I mean, if it sounds good, all these other songs that's added on here that's making it a long album, they could have kept those on the other album. Somebody could have went and if they wanted to hear that song, they could have went over there instead of having to do this. But yeah, I like the song, but it just shouldn't be on this album because really it just doesn't actually sound like the rest of the songs on the album. It sounds completely different. And if there's already an unplugged version, why not just leave it over there, you know? But I mean, yeah, good song, just why is it here? I don't know.
I just don't know. I mean, that's the question we keep asking
Exactly.
ourselves
That's the point here.
about this
Exactly. I
record.
just don't know.
Yep.
We just really we don't know about any of it.
Just don't know.
We don't.
Nope.
So
Just don't know.
now, Peter, what do you think about Circus?
It had a good guitar part on it. But other than that, it's just a song, lyrics, people singing, and that's about it.
And so the next track on the record is called "Going Down Slow," and it's 5 minutes and 20 seconds long, and I like it. I mean, it goes over good live. This is another one that's on one more car, one more rider. The live record he came out with in '01, I believe. Um, I guess 3 years after this record came out, and I think I like again. I like the live version off that album better than this because this I don't know. I just don't. It just doesn't go over that good. Going down slow. I mean, it's just like the weirdest sequence in the world. It goes from circus to going down slow, which is basically a blues song, to fall like rain, which is right back to like the pop real sad songs. It's just the sequencing is just so weird. I've heard Devin talk about stuff like that too. And this record, like, it's got filler, and it's just the sequencing is weird, and the production is weird. A lot of things are weird about this album. And another thing about this album, I mean, I think it was produced by who was it produced by? Simon Climby, you said, Devin?
Yeah, Simon Climby.
Okay, so he he does a lot of he's done a lot of different things for Eric, and there was actually a not an actual album, but it was like something they did, a soundtrack or something they did as a quote unquote warm up for this record,
It
and
was
it's
an
out there.
electronic record.
It's out there somewhere, and to me, that's crap. I mean, it was terrible. I tried to listen to some of it, and I forgot what it was called, but it's
Retail
horrible.
Therapy.
Yes, it's horrible. But I thought I'd make that point. Just kind of a side point. But it's. I mean, this record was a long time in the making, and I think they thought it over a little too well, to be honest. But if that makes any sense. But so, Devin, what do you think about going down slow?
So yeah, I just don't know. So yeah, this song, the live version kills this version of the song. It's much more of a straightforward track, and I strongly prefer the live version to this. I wish the live version or a rendition of kind of the way they performed it live was on this album. It would have been so much better. And yeah, the sequencing on this album is pretty freaking horrible. And I mean, they could have rearranged a lot of these songs and kind of got a different feel. But yeah, it just kind of takes this blues song and turns it into this kind of R&B type song, and it does not work. Like you said, I think I think they thought through this a little bit too much to the point that they ended up second guessing themselves with this record because it had built up such a kind of hype for it. Man, I do that every time I say the word hype, but it had built up a hype so much, and it's. I think they just second guessed themselves with this record. And yeah, that Retail Therapy, I've never heard the entirety of it. It's out, it's out there, but I can never find it. I would like to at least buy it and listen to it all the way through. But I've heard this album countless times compared to that record. And I've heard a couple of songs off of it, I believe, maybe or maybe not. I can't exactly remember, but it's fine. I mean, This song's good, but I mean, I just the rendition on this record is just a little bit too processed, and I'm not the biggest fan. So back to you, Steve.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe this whole record. It's way overly processed. Yeah, and meddled with and nonsense studio work basically. I'm never a fan of that. But anyway, so Dean, what do you think about one called "Going Down Slow"?
Going down slow, it's I like the bass in it, and I like Eric Clapton gives more credit to a bass player than what Van Halen did. I had a kind of comparing this one to Van Halen 3, but really, they took all these songs and they're not in a order that they should be. This going down slow, it seems like it jumped right in between Circus and Fall Like Rain because Circus and Fall Like Rain had more closer of a sound than Going Down Slow. Going Down Slow sounded more like I don't know. It sounded more like one of the other ones we just reviewed, but really this song, that's really the only thing I like about it. And I know that the live version probably sounds a lot better how they did it when they was up on stage instead of in the studio. But and I might actually go back and listen to that version because from what you guys are saying, it sounds like it's a pretty good song when they play it up on the stage. But really, where it's at in this album, it should be moved. But I mean, it's a good song. It's kind of confused, like you guys said. They don't really know what they're trying to go for here on this song, but yeah, they put some time into it. I'll give them that much for it. Yeah,
And the bass work
thus.
is really, really good on this. The bass work is fantastic. I will
Yeah,
agree
I
with you.
love the bass. That's one of the main things I noticed about this song.
Yeah, yeah, those runs in the middle of the song and stuff are like that was great. I will say that's a brilliant part of the song.
So now, Peter, now what do you think about "Going Down Slow"?
It has like a bluesy jazz sound to it. Has a good slide sound to it. And it's actually kind of good. That's about it.
Okay, so yep, that's "Going Down Slow" in a nutshell, folks. It was crap. So
Yep.
next, "Fall Like Rain," 3 minutes and 51 seconds long. Probably, I think that's the shortest song on the record.
Yep.
And it's I like the song. Okay, so "Fall Like Rain," Devin, what do you think about that?
So it's filler. It's a filler song. I'm not the hugest fan of the song. It does sound the closest to "From the Cradle" that they get on the actual album. It's just a filler song. I'm not a fan of this one. It's just whatever. I mean, it's just kind of this diddy bopping sort of this bluegrass type song, and it's just a filler track. I'm not a fan of this.
Dean, what do you think about "Fall Like Rain"?
Uh, I'm not a big fan of this one. It it's kind of repetitive. He does the same vocals all the way through the song. He does pretty much the same playing all the way through the song. And the only I can give it one thing is that it is, I believe, the shortest one on this album, which that's good to me because if this one was too long, I wouldn't have been able to deal with it. But anyways, this song, I like when I first listened to it, when I was first getting into the beginning of the song, I actually was thinking, well, this is going to turn out to be a good song because this sounds pretty good at the beginning. And then Eric Clapton came in and they started adding these different parts, and I was like, oh no, they just ruined another one.
One called Born in Time. I'm pretty sure this was written by Bob Dylan. It was done live for the concert of and for Antigua, 1999, the first guitar festival, so called, but it wasn't on the actual DVD, which it should have been. Besides the point. Born in Time, great song, but not a very good rendition of the song. I hate this album. So it's a song that's on this horrible album. So if that says anything about it, so Devin, what do you think about a 4 minute and 42 second horrible song called "Born in Time"?
Yeah, I've never even heard the live version, so yeah, this is a crap song. It's filler. I'm not a fan of this one at all. I mean, there's too many of the songs. There's too many songs like this on this freaking record. I mean, it's these freaking weird, like just filler songs all across this record, and I don't understand why in the heck he put these tracks on it. This could have very well have been a good 10-song record, or maybe even a strong 12-song record. Maybe throw 2 songs off. No, throw 4 songs off here. Make it a 10-song record, because I mean 12 tracks would have still been too long. But I mean, I'm a big proponent of the rule of 10, and I mean 10 tracks to a CD, 30 minutes or a little bit more than that. But I mean, CD era, so I mean it's going to be much longer album, so that means, oh well, we're going to throw more filler on here. We're just going to kind of make everything drawn out and do this and do that, and I'm not a fan of this track. It's just kind of whatever, and yeah, not a great song. So Steven, back to you.
Dean, "Born in Time."
This song, it's got a good potential to it, but it's just it it's in the wrong place. It's not where it needs to be.
But anyway, one called "Sick and Tired." Um, this this song fits. The only reason this song fits well on this album is because of one simple thing. The title of this record reflects my feelings for this entirety for the entirety of this record. Sick and tired of this record, but that's besides the point.
Yep.
5:44 long, and this is another one of those that is completely filler. I just hate it. Honestly, there's nothing good about it. The production, the songwriting, nothing.
This song absolutely sucks, and literally sick and tired. I was sick and tired of listening to the song itself.
So, Devin, what do you think about one called "Sick and Tired" of this podcast?
2.
Well, it's a freaking terrible song, horrible freaking song. It was written
It
as a
sucks.
tribute to Stevie Ray Vaughan, the Vaughan brothers. I'm not a big fan. I mean, it's just, I don't know. So, I mean, back to you, Steve.
Needs His Woman. Uh, 3 minutes and 46 seconds long. Actually, now that I'm looking at it, this one's even shorter than Fall Like Rain, I think. But anyway, so Needs His Woman. So, Devin, what about this track?
So, this is pretty much a rewrite of Tears in Heaven, except with a different subject matter. And I'm not a fan of this one either. I mean, it's a filler song. I mean, there's way too much filler on this song, and I mean, this is only track freaking 11 on this song, on this album, and I just don't. It's just filler. It's not good, and I just don't freaking understand why they put all these songs on here. I mean, there were better songs on here that could have been fleshed out, maybe even more than what they actually are, or even maybe cut down a bit and maybe went through a couple of more times and kind of made it sound a little bit more actually real, instead of this weird processed crap that's on here. I mean, it's a crap song. I mean, it's not horrible, but it's just crap. I mean,
So, Dean, What about this 3 minute and 46 second? I mean, crapster piece. So what do you think about it?
Oh my gosh. Well, I like the meaning of it, and it seems like it would be a good love song, but dude, it had a nice when it starts out the song, it had a nice acoustic sound, like a calm acoustic, whatever, and he kind of wakes into that chorus with that needs his woman pretty good, but
Devin, what do you think about She's Gone?
So this is more freaking like it. This is a good song. This should have closed the record out. This is kind of hard rock Clapton, and I really dig it. It's kind of, it goes back to what I said about the song "Miss You" from August. It's just kind of got this hard rock vibe to it, and I like the song quite a bit. I think this is a very, very good track. It does go over pretty well live, but I think I prefer the studio version of this compared to the live version. But I think this is the one song where kind of the processed instruments work. But yeah, I mean that's all I have to say really. I like the song. It's not bad, but I mean, yeah, it's probably second best song on the record for me. So back to you, Steve.
So needs his woman. Oh no, she's gone. I mean, um, so Dean, what about this song here?
well, he needed a woman, and now the woman that he needed is gone.
Next to last track on the record, You Were There. So this one's 5 minutes 32 seconds long.
So yeah, it is the second to last track on the album, and once again filler. Not a huge fan of this one. It's this very kind of R&B style song. You got this comes back in at the very end of it. You've got these backup singers coming in, kind of these gospel type backup singers, and it's just not a great song. I'm not a big fan of this one.
Dean, what do you think about this song?
Well, I could say it was a good song.
This is like pretty much a rewritten version of Pilgrim, and it's kind of Pilgrim mixed up with One Chance. It's like they put the two into a blender and blended them together. We hope you all enjoyed this very, very long episode. So stay free, stay frosty. God bless you all. Stay healthy, stay safe, and see you next time.